Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm PK, and my guest today is Dr. Wade Anunson, and he practices in Madison, Wisconsin. And just want to talk, Dr. Anunson, for a second about maybe for everybody listening, what would a normal day look like for you prior to having SIDECAR a part of your team? What would your morning start off like?
My morning would start off with making sure I have a staff when I call in. That's a big thing. We call in on the way to the office and check in and ask a couple questions about what the schedules hold, and just to get a little bit of a pre-frame before we cross the threshold if there's any fires to put out, so to speak. So that first contact with the office is a big thing. And before SIDECAR, whether or not you have a full staff you're walking into that day, or whether someone's called in sick or for some reason didn't show up, something like that is always a concern. And that's been a relief thus far.
So what I'm hearing you saying is it's really by having SIDECAR be a part of your team, takes a lot of the uncertainty out of even just how you start your whole day.
Yes, and I would say from a business standpoint, our promise to our patients was the delivery of a high-end service, a high-quality service, which means it's assumed you're doing everything possible from an expert position in terms of billing, in terms of follow-up with insurance, in terms of communicating with third parties, whether it be Medicare or an insurance company. From a billing side of it, that's the unspoken of promise that we have to patients. Well, when you don't have an expert in that position, it's hard to deliver on that promise. And you may be sending claims and you may be billing, but you don't know exactly how well or efficient you're doing it, which then affects patients' ability, whether claims are being paid from an in-office standpoint for cash flow in terms of a business, or if the patient's going to be compensated for that, or they pay up front and then they're going to pay the patient back. Our whole process will either expedite or delay that, and that's the promise I felt like we weren't delivering on. And so it's kind of hard as I go to the office to realize that I'm really not doing my part, and that was something that got uncovered before SIDECAR and made a huge difference thereafter. The other side of it was the IT support that SIDECAR gave me a peace of mind that I didn't realize I was expending my RAM, my mental RAM, on whether or not my system had gone down over the weekend or not. And I didn't consciously feel like I was thinking about that all the time, but until that had gotten taken care of and I found what commitment was like from SIDECAR to be fully committed to, only then did I realize how much energy I had been putting into that uncertainty.
So SIDECAR, being a part of your team now, allows you the freedom that you don't have to be involved in some of the maybe machinery, if you will, and giving you that opportunity to go back, what I'm guessing was the original passion for getting into chiropractic, where you can just focus on the patients, on their needs, on their healing, and how you can be a part of that.
That is a huge distinction, yes. We think we're able to focus on chiropractic and the patient and that we're giving them the great service and we're able to clearly focus on it. But again, it was something I hadn't realized I hadn't been. And I would have been the first to say, of course, I'm focusing on my patients. I can separate the two. But wearing too many hats and having those concerns eats up your ability to connect and be present with patients.
So you're feeling like you have a little bit more freedom, right?
Absolutely, a lot more freedom. I can't even put a price on it. I was talking to another doc this morning who had some questions about SIDECAR, and I couldn't explain how to put a price tag on what it's given me in terms of having the billing be done by experts and know that it's being followed up on, and know that it's being done as efficiently as possible, and the turnaround is 5 to 10 times faster than it was with my staff. The fact that I don't have to train a highly skilled position over and over and over, and with turnover the way it is nowadays in business, in small business especially. So with staff turnover, that's a huge hit every time we have to train that highly skilled position. And the freedom to know that my IT support is being backed up 24/7, 365, I don't have to worry about it. There's no RAM being eaten up by that. So it's done a big deal for my ability to be present at home as well. My wife will thank you for that.
Dr. Wade, thank you so much for sharing what SIDECAR has meant to you and your practice, and we wish you all the best in the days ahead.
Thanks much. Glad I could help.
Dr. Wade Anunson, my guest today, and he's from Madison, Wisconsin.